For years, Shawnee O'Neill stood in the wings of reality TV royalty, quietly shaping storylines, championing fresh talent, and cementing her reputation as the unwavering matriarch of basketball wives. Behind every dramatic reveal and every headline-grabbing feud, she was the strategist, confidant, and protector who ensured her cast always looked their best. Yet through it all, Shawnee herself remained almost invisible, granting interviews only when absolutely necessary and letting her work speak louder than any on-screen commentary.
I am a married woman.
Chomp chomp.
I had the most amazing wedding in Paris. It's so refreshing to be married. I just want to be a wife.
When Jennifer Williams and Christian Gold's Parisian wedding hit social media like a bolt of lightning, lavish decor, A-list guests, and fairy tale romance splashed across every feed, Shaunie's silence was deafening.
I do have to travel. First time out of the country together. Listen, we are ready. There was a photo on social media, Jen and I, we were actually traveling to Paris to plan our wedding, and that post was sent to my probation officer.
There were no congratulatory posts, no tagged photos of her standing beside the bride, and no behind-the-scenes glimpses of the woman who had been Jennifer's mentor both on and off camera. Fans and insiders alike were left wondering, why the omission? What could possibly overshadow a celebration so meticulously curated? Then, Shawnee broke her silence. In a candid video that's since circulated across gossip sites and fan forums, she didn't just offer a token remark. She unleashed a revelation that peeled back the layers of etiquette and spectacle to expose raw emotion, buried resentment, and a painful sense of betrayal. What she disclosed wasn't about missed invites or social media snubs. It cut to the heart of a friendship tested by fame, ego, and the very industry they helped build together. So, what did Shawnee reveal that has everyone reevaluating the picture-perfect wedding narrative? I can still feel the rush of that morning. Our bags packed, passports in hand, and the thrill of an overseas adventure humming beneath our feet. Christian and Jennifer could barely contain their excitement as we boarded that flight to Paris, each of us eager to transform visions into reality. As a friend and the producer entrusted with orchestrating every exquisite detail, I was there to turn ballroom fantasies into tangible moments, scouting sun-dappled courtyards, sampling buttery croissants at dawn, and sipping champagne beneath a sapphire sky, all while jotting notes on linens, lighting, and floral arrangements. But paradise cracked wide open when a single Instagram post appeared. Jennifer's caption, "Planning our forever in the city of love," flashed across my screen alongside a photo of them entwined on a Seine-side balcony. Should have been a snapshot of joy. Instead, that image landed unceremoniously in my probation officer's inbox, thrusting me from collaborator to culprit in an instant. The same post that celebrated their future suddenly jeopardized my present, forcing me into frantic calls and urgent explanations. Who forwards a personal moment like that? And why me? That moment marked the first domino in a cascade of questions. Why was I blindsided by a public announcement that should have been private? How had a celebratory update become a weapon against my reputation? And, most unsettling, why did it feel like I'd been erased from the very story I helped craft? But that photo was only the beginning. What came next revealed the deeper fractures beneath the surface of their fairy tale celebration. Fractures that would ultimately redefine everyone's understanding of loyalty and betrayal. Shawnee O'Neill didn't stumble into her role, she meticulously built it. As the visionary force behind Basketball Wives, she took what could have been a one-dimensional spin-off and turned it into a cultural touchstone, showcasing the lives of women usually relegated to the sidelines. Camera, she was the architect of storylines, the sounding board for cast drama, and the tireless advocate who polished every image before it hit the screen. Friends knew her as the ultimate strategist, someone who could diffuse flaring egos with a single word and elevate a castmate from background player to breakout star. Yet through every reunion special and viral clip, Shawnee remained curiously silent about her own feelings, preferring to let her influence ripple subtly rather than make overt proclamations. When asked, she offered measured soundbites, always careful to protect relationships and uphold the brand she'd nurtured. This was the same woman who comforted Jennifer Williams through heartbreak, who shepherded newcomers through their first stiff-necked interviews, and who steered the franchise's massive expansion into spin-offs, podcasts, and digital series. So when Shawnee finally stepped out from the shadows, it wasn't a casual quip or a fleeting Instagram story. It was a deliberate, unfiltered confession from someone who knows exactly how to grab attention. In the weeks since her video confession went live, fans have dissected every line, searching for clues about old alliances broken, private conversations exposed, and hidden motives revealed. The impact has been seismic, ruffling feathers all the way from Hollywood power players to everyday reality TV devotees. What compelled Shawnee to break her own unwritten code of silence? And why choose this exact moment to let her truth be heard? From the outside, Jennifer Williams and Christian Gold's wedding was the epitome of a modern fairy tale. Picture this: an 18th-century chateau on the outskirts of Paris draped in climbing ivy, its manicured gardens lined with arches of white roses and fairy lights that flickered like stars. Guests stepped onto a red carpet rolled past the grand fountain, their black tie attire shimmering beneath the glow of vintage lanterns. Inside, crystal chandeliers cast warm patterns across ivory-draped tables, each crowned with towering peony and hydrangea arrangements so lush they seemed alive. A string quartet played softly in the corner, weaving classical melodies into the soft hum of conversation, while waiters in crisp jackets glided between guests, offering champagne flutes brimming with golden bubbles. On social media, every detail was endlessly replayed. Jennifer descending a grand marble staircase in a custom Vera Wang gown, its train flowing like liquid silk. Christian's steady gaze as they shared their first dance beneath an orchestrated fireworks display. And those viral highlights of heartfelt toasts that drew tears from even the most hardened influencers. The menu, a fusion of French delicacies and modern twists, earned rave reviews. Foie gras served on delicate brioche, truffle-infused risotto, and a multi-tiered cake so dramatic it defied gravity, adorned with cascading sugar roses that looked plucked fresh from the garden. Yet amid this curated perfection, there was one conspicuous absence. No Shawnee O'Neill. No candid photos of her laughing with the bridesmaids, no Instagram story from her vantage point at the head table, and not a single "congratulations, my dear" in the comments. For the woman who'd shepherded Jennifer's career and poured her heart into the franchise, it felt like she'd been edited out of the most important scene. But while the world reveled in glitz and glamour, something quieter and far more unsettling was unfolding behind the scenes. As the wedding highlights flooded every feed, fans and insiders alike began whispering the same question: where is Shawnee? Some chalked it up to a hectic schedule or a well-earned break from the spotlight. Others speculated she'd chosen to bow out gracefully. After all, Shawnee is known for handling conflict with quiet dignity. But anyone who's followed Basketball Wives knew that Shawnee O'Neill doesn't go radio silent without a reason. In the days that followed, sources close to the franchise painted a subtler picture. Shawnee's discretion had always been a testament to her professionalism and respect for her friends. She'd held back her commentary out of loyalty, maturity, and, frankly, pain. Yet when the wedding buzz reached a fever pitch, that same silence began to sting. It wasn't that Shawnee felt excluded by accident. It was the way the celebration seemed to erase her influence entirely, as if her years of guidance and support had been quietly written out of the script. That realization hit her harder than any public slight. This was not merely about a missing photo or an untagged post. It was about the deeper significance of being deemed unworthy of even a passing acknowledgement. And when someone who once had your back chooses to stay in the shadows, it speaks volumes. So what history lies beneath this rupture? How did a friendship forged in the trenches of reality TV evolve into a fracture this deep? Long before the Parisian Isle was rolled out, Jennifer Williams and Shawnee O'Neill's bond was forged in the fires of reality TV drama. They met during Basketball Wives' inaugural season when Jennifer, fresh from a public breakup, arrived at the set feeling raw and vulnerable. Shawnee, already a seasoned producer and veteran of reality's relational minefield, took her under wing. She coached Jennifer through tearful confessionals, shielded her from tabloid twists, and even helped negotiate storylines that showcased Jennifer's strengths rather than her struggles. Over the years, their partnership grew. Shawnee introduced Jennifer to network executives, secured her spin-off opportunities, and offered endless strategic advice. Everything from social media best practices to on-camera presence. To fans, Shawnee was the queen pin and Jennifer her loyal lieutenant. Off-camera, they were fast friends, sharing late-night calls filled with laughter, tears, and unfiltered real talk. So when wedding rumors started swirling, Shawnee expected a personal heads-up. Instead, she learned of Jennifer's nuptial plans from a viral blog post, a courtesy update that landed in her inbox like a betrayal. There was no phone call, no text, not even a private message. Sources insist this was no scheduling mishap or clerical error. It was a deliberate snub, a calculated exclusion that spoke louder than any reunion special could. That single act shattered years of shared history, turning mentors into strangers and allies into adversaries. But this wedding room ambush was only the opening salvo. In Hollywood, your guest list is your statement, and Jennifer's absence of Shawnee from hers spoke volumes. Some dismissed the snub as a simple scheduling conflict, but anyone familiar with reality TV politics knows there are no coincidences in that world. Every RSVP, every seat assignment, and every social media tag is choreographed to send a precise message. By omitting Shawnee, her longtime mentor, creative partner, and on-screen confidant, Jennifer broadcasted a stark declaration. She was ready to step out of Shawnee's shadow. Insiders say it wasn't a last-minute oversight. From the moment invitations went out, Shawnee's name was nowhere to be found. In physical mailers, in digital alerts, or even whispered in private dinner conversations. Those close to the franchise described the exclusion as deliberate and strategic, part of a larger rebranding play to recast Jennifer's story apart from the Basketball Wives universe. It was a powerful assertion of control, a way to signal that this chapter of her life would no longer be defined by past alliances or borrowed fame. The insult cut deeper than any social media slight because it symbolized the erasure of years spent building a brand together. When the world celebrated Jennifer's big day, Shawnee was left off the credits entirely, a ghost in the ceremony she had helped envision. What motivated Jennifer to redraw her inner circle so sharply? And how did Shawnee respond when she realized the guest list slight was no accident? Behind the lacquered veneer of wedding bliss lay a moment that cameras captured but never aired. A lunch that began like any other, in a sunlit bistro tucked between cobblestone streets. Shawnee and Jennifer sat across from each other at a small round table, menus unopened as they traded polite smiles. But the air crackled with unspoken tension. Shawnee, noticing Jennifer's distant gaze, leaned forward and asked softly, "Are we okay? It feels like you've already written me out of your life." Jennifer's response was as unexpected as it was blunt. She confessed that she was growing, that the woman she once needed was no longer the person she'd become. In measured tones, she explained that forging a new path sometimes meant letting go of those who still saw her as the girl she used to be. The words landed like stones in Shawnee's stomach. Producers scrambled to keep the conversation rolling, offering water refills and delicate small talk, but neither woman was fooled. As the luncheon ended, Shawnee quietly unclipped her microphone pack, tucked it into her purse, and rose from the table without a word. She didn't need to speak to make her point. The rustle of her departure spoke volumes. What unfolded in that clipped exchange wasn't mere reality TV drama. It was the fracture of a sisterhood built on shared secrets and mutual trust. But that private confrontation was only the prelude to an even more explosive revelation. Just when it seemed the drama had peaked, an illicit recording surfaced. A voicemail Shawnee allegedly left for a close mutual friend. The first thing you hear is a weary sigh, heavy with years of unspoken hurt. Then her voice, calm yet edged with steel. "I wasn't going to say anything, but I watched the world celebrate a wedding I helped create, and it cut deeper than any betrayal I've ever known." She goes on to recount nights spent brainstorming decor ideas and afternoons fielding media questions on Jennifer's behalf. Efforts that now felt wiped clean. "Jennifer can have as many elaborate ceremonies as she wants," Shawnee continued. "But knowing I stood by her at her lowest, then vanished without a word, that's what stings." Sentence lands like a gut punch, exposing the raw wound of loyalty scorned. And then she levels the charge at Christian, too. "He may not have been there when I was fighting those battles, but he's complicit now, choosing a future that erases my past." By the end, Shawnee's tone shifts from sorrow to resolve. "I'm done holding on to ghosts," she declares, setting Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok ablaze with that single unforgettable line. This voicemail wasn't just a personal airing of grievances. It was a declaration of independence, a final act in a saga of friendship, power, and legacy. Fans are still dissecting every inflection, every pause, every loaded phrase. What came next would force both women to confront the fallout and challenge the very bonds that once held their reality TV empire together. The aftermath of Shawnee's voicemail was nothing short of seismic. Almost overnight, former allies suddenly picked sides. Reunion scenes were scrapped, spin-off discussions exploded, and once-tight castmates found themselves navigating a minefield of loyalties. Production insiders whisper that network executives are debating a brand new series, Life Beyond the Basketball Wives, focusing solely on Jennifer's post-wedding journey without Shaunie's guiding hand. Meanwhile, Shaunie's own future feels uncertain. Sources say she's contemplating stepping back from the franchise she built. Tired of backstage politics and the constant balancing act between friendship and power, fans flooded social media with pleas for Team Shawnee, while others rallied behind #TeamJennifer, defending her right to chart a fresh course. Even Christian Gold, who's generally kept a low profile, was drawn into the fray, fielding awkward questions about his role in the schism and whether he'd encourage Jennifer to cast off old ties. Beyond the cameras, the industry is watching closely. Will Shawnee remain the unchallenged queen of reality TV matriarchs, or will Jennifer's spin-off mark the beginning of a new era, one where former protégés can surpass their mentors? And what does this feud say about the bonds forged under the glare of reality TV? One thing is clear. This isn't just a story about a wedding or a leaked voicemail. It's a stark reminder that in a world built on image and influence, the most powerful move you can make may be the one that rewrites your own legacy.